Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's session, and let me briefly introduce our speaker for today. Pradnya Aradhye, my colleague, is a speaker. Pradnya at Venture Center, she's responsible for technology marketing, establishing industry connects, lead management, and deal structuring as part of the TechX.in team at Venture Center. This is the team which is hosting today's Only One Theme talk series and the sessions under that. Pradnya is a registered technology transfer professional, which is an international accreditation distinguishing her as an individual who has demonstrated competence in the profession of technology management. Prior to this role in tech transfer, Pradnya was bio-incubation manager also at Venture Center. She has close to 5 years of experience in this role. In this role, she played a very important part in setting up the bio-incubator at Venture Center, where she was also actively involved in mentoring of entrepreneurs. She has mentored and worked closely with startups working in medical devices and diagnostics to secure various government grants and funding. By training, Pradnya is a MTech in biological sciences and bioengineering from IIT Kanpur. So with this brief introduction, Pradnya, welcome to the session, and I'm going to hand over the session to you.
Thank you, Mugdha. Welcome all. I'm just sharing my screen. You just let me know if you are able to see it or not.
Yeah.
Is it visible, Mugdha? Can you see?
Yeah, it's
You're
visible.
on mute, Mugdha.
Visible, not full screen yet.
I'll just go full screen. Is it now?
Yeah.
Okay. So welcome all and good afternoon all. Today I'm going to talk about technology marketing and advancing lead closer to deal making. I have split my presentation into four subsections, namely technology marketing and its role in technology transfer. Second, a very important aspect of technology marketing, that is communicating value proposition. I'll also try to show best practices in the industry in general terms of marketing and sales, which you will be able to probably relate to while doing technology marketing as well. Then I will get into another segment where I'll talk a little bit about the sales funnel, about advancing the leads, how a systematic sales process or a marketing process can be put in place. And finally, I'll talk about our own experience in technology marketing. I will try to elucidate few examples that we have already done for marketing and deal making effort. Here on the screen, you can see on the slide, there are many roles that a TTO office plays, a technology transfer office plays. It could start with awareness, training, enabling policies, identifying sourcing technology assets, IP protection and management, patent analytics for decision support, technology translation and readiness. These days, many technology transfer offices globally, they also offer this innovation or POC funding to enhance the technology readiness. Then comes technology assessment, then technology marketing, which we are going to delve into more detail, advancing a lead closer to deal making. Then there are certain agreements that are required to be done before we do a deal. There are various deals that can be done. Technology transfer deal structures are also prepared. Technology valuation. This is to back up some of your thought process in terms of the worth of the technology in transaction. What kind of a deal you can make basis the valuation that you have done. Then negotiations happen, a deal is closed. Beyond that, there is post-deal contract lifecycle management. And there are many other models which are used for technology commercialization. Today, I'm not going to discuss those. On the right-hand side, you can see broad categories under which these activities can be classified. IP protection and portfolio management, then valorizing technology assets, technology marketing and transactions. So I would like you to focus on this box, technology, marketing, and transactions. Now, let us see what kind of skill sets a technology transfer professional is required to carry out these activities in a TTO. You will see that on top of the skill sets would be actually doing a good value proposition analysis. What that is, I will explain in my consecutive slides. I have included that section in my today's talk. Communication skills, they are very important. Communicating effectively with your clients is very important. How you are communicating, what you are communicating, it becomes very important in decision making for the client, the customer here. Then to create and build a relationship, to take ahead the conversations with the clients whom you have been talking to, all become a very important part of the activity in advancing a lead to making a deal. You have to leverage your networks in the industry, in the community, in the mentors network also to bring about a deal and progressing the lead in the sales funnel. Let us first understand what is being transacted in a technology transfer office. There could be many things which a technology transfer office transacts. For example, data, there could be samples. But today, I will keep my focus on technology package and in that also upon two important things. One is know-how and another is patent. Let us look at know-how first. As defined by Dr. Premnath, know-how is essentially a recipe. It is a recipe to do something and which is of general use. So it's knowledge of how to do a certain task or carry out a certain process or make or produce something useful. You can have two ways of going ahead with know-how while you are doing the transactions. You can publicly disclose what is the know-how, but by doing so, your know-how is freely available to anybody. So there won't be a case for transacting it to a licensee. Whereas if you disclose this know-how under a confidentiality agreement, you have a right to enforce this confidentiality agreement. And then there is a case for transacting this with a licensee. Now let us look at patent. Patent is a right to exclude others from practicing the art disclosed in the patent. So it is actually a right which will exclude others from practicing it, and it is publicly disclosed, but you have protected it under a patent. So these two are different assets, asset classes, which are transacted, know-how and patent. Now let's look at possible combinations of this. The reason for discussing this has come up in various conversations that we have had in the past with innovators, even with funding agencies, is and the R&D organizations, academic organizations, there is a misconception that there is a one-to-one relationship between a technology or know-how and a patent. But in reality, there is not any such actual one-to-one relationship. In fact, it is very complex in a way that both are related to each other. So if you can see on the chart, there could be few situations where you could have know-how and a patent. So know-how, that's a recipe, and patent to go with it, which protects some part of that recipe. You could have a situation where there is no know-how, but there is a patent, and the licensee would have access to those patent rights. That could also be transacted. There are also cases where we have seen that there is no patent, but there is a know-how. These technologies can also be transacted. And if there is no know-how and no patent, obviously there will be no deal. There is nothing to transact. So in most cases, when you are licensing a technology, what is being transacted is, number one is know-how, where it is presumed that you have freedom to operate. Here, R&D institutes or academic institutes, they never give any assurances to the licensee that you are free to operate, you will not be sued by someone else, and it is assumed that the licensee will go and do the exercise of figuring out whether there is freedom to operate or no. The second one, as we were discussing about the patent, if there is a patent, you have right to exclude others from practicing the art. So there are valid patent rights available with the licensee that gives them a sustainable advantage over other competitive products that are available in the market. And there are few more other things which can be transacted. For example, a licensee can require help in doing scale up, validation studies while doing or scaling up while advancing at TRL levels. The licensee can come back and ask for few more things. So there are many things which might be part of a typical transaction that is happening in a tech transfer. So in this process, when you're talking to potential licensees, you will often find that there is different language that an inventor is speaking and something different, altogether different, that industry is speaking about. On the screen, you can see where I have listed out few things which inventors talk about and what the industry talks about. So typically an inventor, if he has invented a process for some chemical, they would talk about how it is different, how it is unique, how it is first of its kind, how it is latest, how it is using contemporary science, what are the features, how it is better than the existing one. Plus, they will also talk about peer recognition. So all these things are talked about by the inventors. Whereas if you look at the industry side, industry, they more or less, they do not care about many of these things which inventors are talking about. What they really are looking for are benefits to them, benefits to the end user to whom they will be offering their final product to. What are the benefits compared to the alternatives or competitive products that are already available in the market? What are the risks involved? Do they have freedom to operate? What is the life of the patent? What are the costs that they will incur in case they want to take up this new process? What will be the overall business impact? So you clearly see that there is a complete mismatch of language that an inventor is speaking and what the industry is wanting. So this is I would say, this is why value proposition and bringing about that value proposition for a technology transfer professional becomes very important. I will give you an example where I will try to elaborate more on the language spoken by the inventor and the industry. Recently, we ran a matchmaker on process innovation in pharma. We ran a technology showcase. So while we were talking to the inventors, we saw that they were very good inventors, scientists. They had very good technologies. They were talking about minimum number of steps that their process is using. It is a continuous flow as opposed to the batch fed or a single batch reaction. Then they were also talking about some atom economy, which is currently being very much talked about for creating sustainable green chemistry products, right? But at the same time, when we went to the industry, we tried to understand from them what are their requirements and how good these are technologies. What they told us about was, what is the lowest raw material cost that this process will be using? Do they have freedom to operate? What is the price of the final product as compared to the landing price which we get for the imported raw material from China, for example? Now you see there was a complete mismatch in the language because inventors are talking about features and the industry was talking all about the benefits. And it is this translation of language that we refer to as creating a value proposition. Now let's talk about this value proposition. before that, I would like to make you understand more about few marketing concepts. Marketing is about answering two basic questions. Why buy me and who am I? So when why buy me, it becomes so clear that consumers, they do not need to write the line at all. Then it becomes a brand. So when you see a symbol of Tata or Mahindra, they do not need to explain why buy Tata or why buy Mahindra. If you go to customer in India and say Tata and Mahindra, you will see, okay, there is a trust. So when you see this logo, you actually equate it with trust, right? So over a period of time, this why buy me, it translates into who am I, right? So I'm not going to focus today on who am I. I would focus more on why buy me. On the left hand side, you can see three circles. We all are aware of these Venn diagrams. In the first circle, it talks about what is it that the customer wants, what is it that you can provide, and what is it that the competitors cannot provide. Now you can see there is a very small sweet spot of these circles in the Venn diagram where these are coinciding. Now this is the sweet spot that we have to target. And when you most of the times when you try to write about telling about what is it and what is this sweet spot about, we tell mundane stories, but people don't relate to it. So there are two things that are needed. You have to write it in an extremely clear manner. This I'm talking about value proposition. And it has to be told in a way of a storytelling. People do not remember a formula, feature, or what was the intermediate, or what was the, I would say, continuous flow, batch flow. But what they would remember is the benefits. So how is it that you can craft your value proposition both for the licensee and for the end users in the context of not only the features but the benefits as well? Because finally that is what is being looked at by the industry, the customer, the end user. So what are value propositions? They describe why somebody should buy your product. You have to think about the answer, not from the point of view of a salesperson or a marketing person, but you have to put yourself in the shoes of buyer, the customer, the end user. Why should a customer buy that product? That is the first and most important thought that you should be thinking about. The second, actually, about who is the customer. That is also very important, because we don't want to spray in the dark. We don't want to hunt in the dark. We don't want to struggle to find a customer. So we should be very clear about who our customer is going to be. Who is going to be the likely buyer of our product? Who is going to be the end user? Third is, it does not matter, or it doesn't actually matter if you are launching a Me Too product or a Me Too technology. It must have a competitive advantage, superiority, demonstrated superiority over products that are already in the market, or in case of technology. So these are value propositions, and these can be quantitative and qualitative. By quantitative, you can actually, it can be numerical. You can always tell this is better than that by this much margin, this is higher, this is lower. All these things, they come in the quantitative value propositions. Whereas when you are talking about qualitative value propositions, they are non-numerical, intangible. They are more like, if you are solving live problems, then these people, they will not even ask you to compare your product or how it is better than, how much it is better than the competitor in the market. In my next slide, I will show you how to build customer value proposition. On the screen, you can see two scenarios. One is market pull and one is technology push. I will not be discussing about market pull because we as technology transfer professionals, we always work on the left-hand side of the invention that is available. And you have an invention and now you need to find a use case for it. So as described by Dr. Anu Narasimhan in her slides few days ago, what she says is that invention and innovation are different. Invention, it is something that all scientists create in their labs. And when that gets adopted and accepted, then it becomes an innovation. So there is no right or wrong about the answers that you are trying to seek. So example of technology push that I would like to give is, we all are aware of memory foam that we have in our households, right? Memory foam is used in mattresses, memory foam is used in pillows, shoe insoles. So this technology, memory foam technology, was initially not discovered for household or consumer products, right? It was discovered by NASA during a space research, high-end research. But they had to find a, I would say, customer. They had to find, that was a technology push that was given. And now we can see that technology in our households. So once you have a technology, you have to go looking for a use case. So there are no right and wrong answers, but you have to go to your customers to figure out what is the value proposition for the technology that you have. So very simply put, if I simply put the value proposition, value is the usefulness, worth, relevance. So it has to be relevant to a customer segment. I'll give you an example for this. There is a sale going on for an umbrella. And currently that umbrella probably is costing rupees 500 and it's a sunny day. You will not tend to buy that umbrella because you will say, oh, it is very expensive. It is of 500 rupees. I don't require that. It is very tedious to carry everywhere. Whereas if there is a storm, you are wearing an expensive dress and suddenly it starts pouring. What will you do? Same road you are traveling, you see the sale, you will not care what is the price at which that umbrella is being sold. So what you will do, you will go, you will happily buy for 500, even if it is for 600 or 700, you will go and buy that umbrella because you see value is higher than the price. So you are not giving importance to the price, you are giving importance to the value here. So here are certain key components when you are trying to craft a value proposition. This is more from a marketing perspective, but we can fit this for our technology marketing purposes as well. So when there is a product that has been developed, how the performance is better, what are the quality, what are the features, is there a brand associated with that? That has to be put in the value proposition. It could be price, it could be fair, it could be cheap, it could be reasonable, it could be consistent. So it could be any price. So there is again no right or wrong about the price. There could be very good technologies which you want to sell for a very cheap price. You should not do that. You should not undersell your product. In fact, price can be the highest value. If people see value in that, they will pay for the price, just like the umbrella example which I told you. Access and availability. If there is a licensee who has come to you for a technology license and there is a possibility or way, or you keep a door open to transact once again with that client for doing further IP. If you do any technology advancement, that is always an added advantage for the licensor who is transacting the technology to the licensee. So the Another thing could be difference. If in case you are offering a service, there could be some differentiation that could come from your service, ordering, delivery. So there are many platforms these days where they are service oriented. So there could be some advantages that you are offering over other competitors in the market. And finally, the experience that you have with your licensee, that also matters. Customer relation matters. Sometimes it so happens that even if the technology is not good, but you have been having a great relationship with that industry, they would consider that technology for uptake. So let me take few examples which our team did for bringing about value proposition. Again, I will talk about what inventor told us what industry was wanting. So I'm taking an example for a medication for migraine. Inventor came to us and he mentioned that they have developed a new drug for migraine. It is a plant-based natural extract. It can be formulated as a nasal spray. It is having a low cost of production. Now, these were the things which the inventor thought that is showing value to the product that they are trying to license out. Now, let us see what industry wants. So, the potential licensee in their case could be a pharma company. Now, what they would be looking at, what this pharma company, if they want to license this product, this technology, what will they see a value in, or on what parameters are they going to judge this technology? Let's look at it in detail. They would first try to understand what is the efficacy of this formulation as compared to the alternatives that are already available. They would also think of it in two different ways, like, is it for prevention? That means if, for example, if a person sprays it in the morning and whole day, he will not have any migraine attack. Another use case could be somebody is already under migraine pain, and if that person uses it, the pain is gone, or it is managed or made bearable. So there could be various ways of doing it, why this formulation could be working that way. It need to act faster or slower. So basically, there could be two ways this pharma company could be looking at. Now, all these kind of questions that pharma company is asking, there will be questions related to safety. Obviously, they want to launch a product in the market. They have to be very sure about the safety profile of the new formulation. What could be the side effects? What could be the contraindications? Can a diabetic take this medication? Can a cardiovascular disease person can take this medication without any contraindications? Will they have freedom to operate? So these are the questions which a inventor may not have thought about, or they may not have asked while doing this invention, right? So this pharma company, they would be also interested in, is there a patent? What is the strength of that patent? What is the life of it? How much life is remaining? How old is that patent? Do they have enough time to make money if they invest in this patent? Then what are the potential financial upsides of this entire formulation? What is the investment? So all these questions will be asked by the pharma company, whereas the inventors may not have thought about all these questions while doing their invention. So in this particular case, what we found out that currently there are these CGRP antagonists which reduce the vasodilation. That means the vessel dilation of it is getting reduced, and that by the expansion of it is one of the causes of migraine, and that is a preferred route. So people were looking for specifically molecules which can do this and not other mechanisms to mitigate migraine. Therefore, if as a technology transfer professional, you are aware of this, you could position it with a licensee, and you can prove your advantageous position over the existing products in the market. Now, all this thing would require a deeper understanding of the subject. You have to deep dive into it, and you have to put yourself in the customer's shoes, and something that technology transfer professionals are required to do. You may also have to talk to the experts in the field to understand the science or the formulation better. So this is an example of communicating value proposition by a technology transfer professional, which I think most of you must be aware of. Technology briefs. Technology briefs carry information about the technology, what is the advantage that it is offering, what is the problem being addressed. In the center, you can see a technology brief from MIT Technology Licensing Office, and you can see a segment on advantages. On the left-hand side, you can see technology brief developed by our own team. That also carries information on the technology offering. So, though these technology advantages or offering or value proposition, they seem very small. This is a very small list that you can see, but you must understand that a considerable background work and research goes into bringing about these advantages and put it in a tech brief. It has to be very precise and to the point, right? So on the right hand side, this is a tech spotlight that we usually develop for posting it on social media. That's done by TechX. Now let me move to the next segment, which is about generating leads and progressing the sales funnel. So I'll start with very basic concepts about how a sales funnel is worked by people in marketing and sales. So this is a typical workflow of a sales funnel. Again, it starts with target customers. As I mentioned, your target customers, identifying them is very, very important. And after you do that, maybe you generate a list of 50 to 60 industries during lead generation. And when I say lead, it is not just a name of the company. It includes a person, right person, senior person, decision maker in the company who can be reached out to in case you want to market your technology. So lead generation, it is not as simple as writing or putting, contacts in an Excel sheet and what you have found about the companies. But lead nurturing is also required. Lead nurturing takes a lot of time. We need to understand what are the challenges that their companies are facing, right? What are those challenges which can be addressed by the technology that you are offering to these people? So that becomes very important, and that could fit well with their company goals and their vision. So you have to nurture these leads for a long time. And then deal closure happens. This we all are aware. Then comes account farming. This is a typical marketing lingo. So account farming means you have to basically nurture this account that you have developed. You have to water it, you have to grow, you have to process. So you have to basically fertilize this account. So for example, if you've already transacted a technology with one industry, they would have certain bases or certain level of confidence and trust in you that, okay, they bring good technologies. So that account, if you I would say, fertilize, that is going to be helpful in the long run. So at any given point of time, you must be aware where your technology is progressing in this sales funnel. So you can keep a track of it. There are many things or many softwares. There are many ways in which you can do this to keep track of it. And nurturing, it has to be done. The process has to be followed. It could be phone calls, it could be meetings, or even an email. So all these have to be done while you are doing marketing of your technologies. And where is in your sales funnel is the challenge, like where are you facing trouble? So this is a typical sales funnel, and on the right hand side there are pipeline stages. So very often what we find is that there are many leads, lots of leads, but they are not qualified. What do I mean by a qualified lead is somebody is willing to meet you, somebody has reached out to you, somebody has written to you, so that becomes a qualified lead. That lead, you take it up, you do initial meetings, you define what their needs are, you make an offer, what is the technology offering, what is there to transact. Then if both the parties are interested, the negotiations happen, final proposal is sent, a deal is closed. So this is a typical sales funnel. So you must understand and identify where you are facing challenges in this sales funnel to do effective deal making while doing technology marketing. I would now progress to next segment, where I would give you examples of finding and progressing leads for marketing, the know-how or IP. Before that, I would tell you few principles of technology marketing. On the left-hand side, you can see ways of passive marketing. We also call it as pray and pray. On the right-hand side, there is targeted marketing, or we also call it as active marketing. Now, spray and pray, most of the technology transfer offices and most of the technology transfer professionals, they do. That is, the technology is posted on various websites, portals, online databases, then innovation marketplaces, social media, mailing lists, advertisements. This is passive marketing. Whereas when you do a targeted marketing, it involves finding the right people to send information to talk to approach. You try to get connected with decision makers in the identified companies. You have to identify right companies. You can have referrals from industry experts. You can run industry specific tech showcases. As I mentioned, the pharma process showcase, we run various more, and I'll show one more example of showcase in my next few slides. Then you can write articles in industry magazines. You can attend trade shows, industry conferences where these industry people come and inventors can go and pitch their technologies too. So all these are part of targeted or active marketing. So there are certain approaches that can be taken for doing targeted marketing. You can tap onto your inventor network, connects made by inventors via conferences. You visit various conferences, the R&D people, they can go there, they can connect to people and try to market the technology. If you know players in the field, existing industry players, those who are filing IP, those who have talked about interest areas, you can approach them. You can also leverage personal networks while with the senior professionals, in case you have any relevant industry connects through your personal networks. Industry specific showcases, definitely that's a way. And you can do concept selling to founders and the board members. So we have already looked at technology showcase. I'll just explain you how we do that. This is an excellent example of targeted technology marketing. What we do as TechX is we identify a theme, that is industry specific theme. We identify, we call proposals, then we are getting submissions. We put together an advisory committee who help us to shortlist the proposals, the technology submissions. Then we work with these technology providers, basically the innovators from R&D institutes, to curate their pitches. Now, what is the methodology that we follow for the final tech showcase, where we invite industry participants to check out the technologies on offer? It is a focused industry specific technology showcase. We explain it in a very simple language, minus the jargon. We curate the cohort, we curate the industry experts. We highlight points that industry experts say are important, because that is what the industry is looking for. Remember, inventors talk something else, industry wants something else. So we try to bridge that gap. We directly talk about value proposition, and we invite industry professionals through networks of industry experts. So this is one of the format which has worked for us, because it, I would say, it at least we have a better chance of getting a hit when you showcase a particular technology to a cohesive group of industry people who have come for a particular theme of that technology showcase that is being organized. So we maximize the chances of getting hits here. So with this, I would like to show an example of how TechX works with their technology marketing and sales funnel, how this has happened over the years. This is a cumulative number. So basically, this is similar to what you saw previously about the sales funnel, which I was showing you few slides back. So total number of 118 technologies were marketed by us, and it brought about close to 300 expression of interest. They were qualified to 244. Finally, we were able to develop 64 term sheets, and 30 deals were closed. So that is roughly 10% of what came in at the top of the funnel. So these are just representative numbers, but the idea is to systematically do this, and you can do this in Excel sheet or CRM as well. So with this, I would come to a closure of my talk. For extra reading, in case you are interested in diving deep into the subject which I just talked about, because of paucity of time, I couldn't go into details of value proposition and marketing. Go to this website, TT Online Manual. This is an extensive resource that we have developed. You can find sections dedicated to technology marketing, leads, and whatever I talked about today. You can also check out and download TTO handbook, which we have developed with Unido. These are the links. We will circulate these PPTs with you, and you can access these whenever you want to read more about the subject. With this, thank you for your attention. If there are any questions, I would be happy to answer those.
Hello, Pradnya. There are a few questions in the chat box. One thing is about, there was one question. Would you advise highlighting the inventors and their area of expertise in the technology brief?
We don't usually do that. But yes, definitely when we are doing this technology showcase format events, we make it a point to show the expertise of the inventors, because at that time we are getting one-on-one attention of the industry, and many a times they are looking for capabilities of the scientists. But it may not be a good idea to put it in the tech brief, because that tech brief is very specific for a technology, and you are trying to offer value there to your customer.
Okay, yeah, there's
Can
one
you
more.
allow, there was a hand up in between of somebody, I think.
Right now, I can't see. Do you remember the name?
Mohammed
You can unmute.
Shazib.
Sorry?
He wants Mohammed Shazib. If he wants to ask a question, he can ask.
Till that time, I can take up more questions from the chat box. I can read those.
Yeah.
Do we have the breakup of focus area innovation field, which ended with tech transfer closure out of total 30 success we have? So I think Rajneesh wants to understand what were the areas in which we were successful. So they were very diverse. They were from engineering side, they were from biotechnology side, they were from chemistry side. So we cannot pinpoint a particular focus or innovation area. And just for your information, TechX is sector agnostic when we are doing technology transfer or any other service for that matter. What was the price range for the technology sales made by VC? Sorry, that's confidential. We cannot disclose those. How did it compare? Again, I cannot comment on that. At what TRL level does industry approach you? So, see, there is no fixed TRL at which industry approaches. We have had transactions at a very early TRL as well. We have transacted at a know-how level also. So it really depends on what value does that industry see in your offering. So, as far as my comment is concerned, TRL really does not matter while you are transacting a technology or a know-how. If
Can I add there, Pragnya,
Yes, sir.
that
Yeah.
if you can understand that if somebody is just looking for a technology which is all ready and they just want to only do the business side of it and not advance it any further. Typically, in very mature markets, that is where people may look for things at late TRLs. But if you're looking for breakthrough technology, most people will not wait for TRLs to mature. They would rather take it early and develop it themselves, right? It also depends upon the maturity levels of the licensee. In the sense, a licensee, if they have internal capabilities and they are innovative themselves, they are likely to come early. If they are not innovative themselves, but are just relying on innovation outside their organization, then they're likely to come later, okay, in the TRL levels. So it can go either way, right? So that's what it is, right? Okay. I just, this question he had asked, and he says he doesn't have a mic, so I'll just read it out for you. Pragnya?
Yeah.
Um, Hi, we are Micromode, developing AI-powered wireless sensors for predictive maintenance in manufacturing. While our technology is strong, we struggle to communicate its value in simple terms to factory managers. How do we translate complex technical features like on-edge AI and nine-axis vibration sensing into compelling value propositions that resonate with non-technical industrial buyers focused on ROI and downtime reduction? You want to take that up?
You want to take that up or shall I answer?
Okay, so let me give it a quick shot.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you are having on-edge AI, right, on a device, what does it help you do? It doesn't necessarily need you to be on the network, have a cloud system to interact with. You can have a portable system which will quickly give you AI-based results and so on and so forth. Those are the value propositions that people are interested in, right? If you say on edge AI, that means nothing to somebody who is not in that field. But if I say that, look, if you were to go to the cloud and come back, the reliability will be lower, it will not work everywhere, it will be slow, whereas mine will work fast, it will be reliable, fast, all that, that makes a difference. Or my cost is lower. So you have to basically, for everything, it's actually possible to create that value proposition clearly. The problem is many of our technical people tend to get stuck on just the technical features. They don't talk about the benefits. Okay. Suppose you are saying, say, 3-axis vibration sensing or 9-axis vibration sensing. Translate it into what result it is going to mean for somebody, in terms of their ability to say, detect a maintenance problem, right? And that is what people would like to hear rather than just technical wizardry. Okay. Okay. I think that's okay. So will you take up the next question, Pragnya, from the chat box? Sorry, you're on mute, Pragnya.
I'm so sorry. If I have identified the companies who are the appropriate decision makers, job title I can communicate with. So typically, they should be CTOs, CSOs, or high level marketing VPs and of those levels, because that is where it makes an impact. If they are convinced, they would definitely encourage their team who is working under them to interact with the tech transfer professionals for more details. But you should be targeting the levels of CTOs, CSOs, marketing VPs, and all those people. Can you guide us for market survey? Uh, can you please elaborate what kind of market survey, Bhavesh, you are talking about? You can put it in the chat box. Till that time, I'll take the next question. How technology marketing may be different from product marketing. So technology, sir, would you like to take this up? Technology.
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
How different is technology marketing from a product marketing?
Okay. So one of the things, when you're talking about products, sorry, there's something some disturbance, right? So I'll just let me just see. Okay. When you're talking about products, you're very often talking about something where the customer can visualize what exactly you're going to get, right? So they will see something in front of them. There will be a price point. There will be some data sheets and so on and so forth for the product and the customer offering, which may include the product and other things as well, right? So it is a little easier to sometimes articulate the value proposition. When you're doing technology marketing, there are two important aspects. One is that, first of all, it is still at a stage of a technology. You may or may not have conceptualized the final customer offering. You know, it might be this, but you don't know exactly that. It's still being advanced. But the second more important thing is that typically when you're doing technology marketing, I think I'll explain this with a specific example. Just imagine you are doing a product which is going to be sold eventually to a customer, and in between there's a manufacturer. The technology license and the marketing you are doing is to the manufacturer and not necessarily to the end user of the product. So there's two levels of understanding value propositions that you need to do. One, which is for the manufacturer to understand what value they are creating for the end user, and the technology licensor to explain what is the value you're creating for the manufacturer, right? So let's give you a specific example, okay? So let's take a product, let's say in the market, which is meant to be a skin cream, okay? That skin cream product, which is in the market, you're going to sell it to the customer saying that this is going to help you reduce your acne, okay? And that's the value that it is going to create, right? Now the manufacturer who's going to make it, he's your licensee. It's not the final end user. That licensee has to understand clearly, okay, how is that product differentiated from, say, any other product, okay? Or will they be able to price lower? Or will they be able to get a premium on it, right? Those kind of things. So the kind of questions that a licensee asks, okay, might be slightly different. They may ask, can I make it with my current setup? Okay, do I have access to the raw materials? Those kind of questions. So technology marketing needs you to think not only in terms of value proposition to your licensee, but also your value proposition to your end user. When you're doing product marketing, you're talking about mainly value proposition to your end user. I hope that answers your question. Yeah. Continue, please, Pradnya. I think you keep track of the questions if you don't mind.
Yeah. I'm answering few which I can write. So I'm just doing.
There's one online, I think Bhavesh wants to ask, so I'll let him ask. Okay. You should have got. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you. It was nice presentation and very informative. Just I want to have, because where most difficult thing is to have a market size and survey. Suppose we have one herbal product. Okay, there are a lot of products are available, we know. It's not easy to get what will be the size, who are the competitors. Sometimes when we search online, we are not able to get it appropriate details.
Yeah.
So
we run a separate session on market research. This will be a little out of scope, but let me just tell you that typically there are 2-3 ways of doing this. What you're talking about is called secondary market research, using data which is already available outside. Okay. But there's also primary market research where you can actually do ground up number crunching based on the number of users that are there in a given city, and then take it, then add up the total numbers, okay, from bottom up. Now, what we typically do is you'll do multiple methods of doing market research and zero in roughly on a range which seems reasonable. Okay, so that's the practice normally of how market research and sizing is typically done. So there is I mean, you have to try different ways. Sometimes the core data is not available. Sometimes the data is too expensive. Sometimes you have to do it ground up. So many of our startup founders would actually end up doing eventually ground up data by looking at, say, how many such, say, suppose the surgical product, how many surgeries happen in Pune every year of this kind? How many would they use it? And then in Pune, if this is happening, how many such cities are there? And so on and so forth. And then multiply it higher up. And later you add up and see total, does it tally or not? Okay. I hope that answers your question. Okay. Your question, Pradnya, is there any question remaining?
Yeah, I'm
Let's
just
quickly finish it. Yeah.
yeah. I also need to step out. How important demo of tech to build trust in market before putting in for sale? So what we have seen is sometimes demo is required only when there is a certain level of interest being shown by the industry. In the first go, when we are trying to contact industry people, they will never ask for demo. But for sure, if they want to make a decision of go or no go, demo will be definitely required. And we have conducted or facilitated demonstrations of various technologies at their own site where scientists have developed in their own labs. Industries went there, they got convinced, and they did a deal. So demo is important, but not in to start with, I would say. When is CRL of technology important?
CRL, just to, so people talk about various other axes. So TRLs are primarily just for technology readiness, right? Whereas there are other axes which are available, which people can use. For example, Niti Aayog put out a report which has something which talks about a commercialization matrix, okay, where TRL equivalent is one x-axis, and then there is another let's say a y-axis, where you can see, you can try and map out where your idea stands at this stage. Just to give you a little bit of an example, you just think about it. If you're developing a technology and only focusing on technology level, readiness level, you might just say, oh, that this has scaled up to 100 kilos now, and so on and so forth, and just look at one way of it progressing further. But what if the technology, no, I mean, the whatever you're trying to produce, nobody wants, right? So you need to also verify whether the value proposition is right, whether you have verified your claims in terms of the claims you're making in terms of value for the customer, and so on and so forth. So that constitutes the rest of the axis in many ways, right? So there's another one which also we have mentioned. So there's something called a TTO manual and technology handbook, TTO office handbook we have put out. Maybe Pradnya, you can put out the link, right? Where we have talked about another one which relates to adoption readiness levels as well. So which some of you might be interested in looking at. But all this is okay for to guide you in the broad direction you need to take your project. But please don't use it for too much more than that. There is no equation, no relationship between commercialization and, like, you can't say that if you reach this level, it will get commercialized. There's no such, okay? And so overdoing it is a waste of time. Please don't do that, right? But it's a general guide on what you could be doing in each technology sector in terms of advancing it further. But it should not be used blindly and for everything carelessly, right? You can take a very breakthrough technology and commercialize it at even TRL3, right? So there's no problem there, right? It just depends upon whether it's in demand or not.
There is one more question. I think I would take that question and we'll stop. If you have more questions, please send me an email. I will answer
I
all.
think our team has also put out the feedback form, so please fill that up as well. Okay. Yeah, go
One
ahead.
last question I'll take from Bipin Deshpande. What percentage of cases did the price at which the technology was sold actually cover the cost of technology development? Based on the data, is it worthwhile to develop a new technology? Is it 0.5x, 2x, 3x, 10x? Bipin, I would like you to attend. I would like you to attend why you should license a technology, that session. That would make things very clear why you should develop a technology and why you should put it out for licensing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Maybe I can add a couple of points here, Pragna.
yeah.
See, the thing is, one of the things to remember is that your buyer of your technology doesn't care what it costed you to make the technology. Okay, so it is not important for them if you spent 1 crore, but they think it's worth only 10 lakhs. That's all they will pay you. Okay, so it's this whole whether it's your commercial decision whether it is worth doing a particular technology development or not, and how much money to spend on it, right? There are many situations where people invest more than what they can get for various other reasons, because it creates collateral technologies, it creates collateral benefits. So, for example, academic institutions invariably end up spending overall more, but then you do train people, right? You create facilities, you do so many other things in not for profits of that kind. When you're a private entity or an entrepreneur, you have to think twice about how you want to spend it, because you have to worry about what are the collateral advantages you're getting when you're doing invention activities. But that said, overall, you know, even Stanford would probably make money only on 5 out of every 100 inventions. Okay, so they do lose money on others. The trick is to find those 5 which make a lot more to cover all your costs, right, and give you a return on the rest of the investment you have made. So it's a portfolio activity if you're getting into inventions, right? You should not think that the one invention you build will be successful, although that's what every inventor likes to think. But that's one thing which you have to be very careful about as well. Sorry, Pragna, I think you have to head for a meeting, I think. So
Yeah.
probably we'll have to
Uh,
close here.
Yeah, I would be happy to answer on email. So Mugdha has put out my email. Please do send your queries. I will try to answer all those. Thank you so much for patient listening.
Yeah, thank you, Pradnya, for joining. And let me announce the next session. Please note, this is not coming up on a Tuesday, but we are changing it to just for this session. It will happen on Friday, the 27th of February, and at 11 o'clock in the morning, and not at 4 o'clock. We will be sending you emails and WhatsApp messages. But this is a very interesting session on IP strategy and M&A planning for global strategic partnerships in life sciences. And our expert speaker for the day is Dr. Madhuri Roy. She's a partner at Cooley LLP, which is one of the top US-based law firms specializing in deep technologies. So please do not miss this session. It's on a different date and day and time than the usual. It is Friday, 27th of February at 11 o'clock in the morning. So please do attend this session. Thank you so much for joining. And once for a reminder, please do give your feedback before leaving this session.